And I just want to say, this is why black men and white tea women have the highest divorce rates. This is why y'all are considered statistically the most failed relationship.
Ladies, what I love is that we're no longer accepting financial struggle.
They throw down $5, then you are inclined to listen to them for X amount of time, to be your boyfriend, sleep with you, whatever it is.
Women are confusing chaos with chemistry, so now those bad boys become the thrill, while the emotionally available, the stable boys become boring.
Woman on this app whose stuff just started coming across my feed for whatever reason. I'm not going to tag her because we not finna give her no type of attention. But I just want to say this. Her entire content is about trying to make black women feel some type of way about her decision to date black men. So basically, her entire personality is about dating black men and how black women are so bothered by her dating black men. And I just want to say, this is why black men and white tea women have the highest divorce rates. This is why y'all are considered statistically the most failed relationships.
Bitterness.
This is why all of the Kardashians are baby mothers, except for Kourtney and Kendall. Because y'all spend so much time putting black women in your conversations instead of actually loving the person that you're with. You're not hurting anybody but yourselves. And the biracial children that you keep creating with white tea moms, this is why they're sitting up on this app crying and confused. Because their parents got together based off of one thing. Let's see how we can piss off black women. And then you wonder why when black women go outside the race. You wonder why when black women, for the most part, go outside the race, why their relationships last longer.
And women like you is the reason why, because y'all do sign language. Shaming, insulting, guilt, and need to be right.
Learn from us. Because what we don't do is sit up on apps and talk about how much better we are than the women who birth the non-black men that we date. That's what black women don't do. And that's why they have success. Serena Williams, Tiki Sumter, Eve the rapper. That's why they have success. You might want to learn from black women.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
It is true. I researched it that black women, black men, and white women do have the highest divorce rates. But that's not really the highest divorce rates because it's 44%. The highest divorce rates are around 70-something%, and that's with woman on woman, right? So who is the problem at the end of the day? The black man may not be the issue. Women are the problem. And I'm not saying it's 100% the blame on the woman because everybody's at fault, right? Because it's his side, her side, and the truth. But who initiates divorce first? Now, ask yourself that and use your logic and you'll understand and realize that black men are not the issue. It may be the woman they're choosing, who may be choosing them because they're a fetish, right? Could you imagine? It can happen now because they see them as a fetish or because of many different factors. But you can't blame that on the men because the women are the bigger issue. And I'm not trying to even blame it on the woman, but we already see from the numbers what the issue is.
Conditioned us to pick the worst type of men, and here's how. Some of y'all are going to be in a bind after this one. Super hyper dependence has caused us to pick emotionally unavailable men. And I know this speaking from experience. And the rejection of positive masculinity opens the door for the toxic, weak masculinity. So when you start slapping labels on positive masculine things like provision, providing, headship, you invite a weak man who will either not be able to lead as a man or someone who will manipulate you to thinking that they can. Been there. Feminism has glorified rebellion, not discernment. Women are confusing chaos with chemistry, so now those bad boys become the thrill, while the emotionally available, the stable boys become boring. And feminism has taught us to be that man that we were meant to receive, and then we walk around and wonder why we can't find a good one. Ladies, I know when you're on your own, you have to be independent. You have to wear the pants. I get it. But when you find that good man that is honoring you, cherishing you, providing for you, protecting your heart, girl, take those britches off.
You know, it's funny because she's doing all of this explanation, and I'm sure it happened to her too, because she's a woman as well at the end of the day. But after a while, you got to look at yourself and say, I'm the reason I have no man. And that's what happened. She looked at everything that happened in her life. Maybe she hit that epiphany stage and realized, I believed this. I believed in feminism for so long. I'm sure she had to see, wait a minute, this isn't working. That's what happens to many ladies. This is not working. I'm the reason I have no man. And feminism is to blame. It's sad, man. It's really sad.
I'm not meaning hypothetically. I mean, whatever y'all do behind closed doors, that's your business. But I'm saying, take those britches off, those boss babe pants, and allow him to lead you.
Manly men.
Oh, manly men are in demand again, are they? Let me guess. Someone must have needed something.
Just tell me why I was at the airport yesterday and I asked two grown men to help me put my suitcase up in the overhead bin.
Yep, called it.
Wow.
Because the only time that some of those strong, independent women seem to want manly men around is when they find out they can't do something all by themselves.
They both said no. One of them was like, if you can't put it up yourself, go check it at the gate.
I feel that's a perfectly valid response. After all, if a woman can't handle her own baggage, why should she try to hand it off to a man to deal with?
I was like, jaw dropped, because what's your issue?
There's no issue. They've probably just been listening to what a lot of women out there have been saying, that they don't need or want men for anything.
If I could, I would, but I just can't. I'm 5 feet tall. I literally weigh 90 pounds, and you think I can barely reach up there. What's your issue? Hello? What?
Maybe, just maybe, a person should have taken a little more responsibility for their own actions, not taken on more than they're physically capable of handling themselves, and then expect others, specifically men, to do the work for them.
That's true, because she said it, right? And I'm happy Lady J did this video because she pointed out the issue. You just said you're 5 feet, 90 pounds. Why are you packing such a heavy carry-on bag? You should think about, okay, I need something I can get up there, right? Or something small enough to have it on your seat. Because I don't know if you're flying domestic or internationally, but if you're flying domestic, they tell you you can tuck it under your seat. I know internationally you have to put that thing up. And also the person that's what do you call them? The person that checks the tickets, I forgot the name. But yes, they will do it for you. They will lift it and put it up there for you. And the thing is, they pass by quite often. Why you didn't ask one of them? They will do it with a smile. The stewardess, I was going to say. Even a female stewardess could have lifted that bag up. The men didn't have to do it. And as Lady J said, men are listening. And men are not doing it.
Ladies, what I love is that we're no longer accepting financial struggle, and we are saying no, he got to have a little bit of money, a little bit of funds. in order to be with him. I get that. I want you to know though, because I'm seeing a number that we keep using and saying he must make at least $100,000 a year. Please understand, 50% of people who make $100,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. So you need to be praying for, looking for, however you want to put it, for somebody who is good with their money, not just somebody who has money.
Finally, somebody
Also pray for generosity, because he could be making.
I said that a while ago. You have to get the man that's responsible. Maybe he has money in the stock market. Maybe he only makes 50,000, but that man may have savings. But let me let it cook.
Money, that don't mean he gonna give it to you. Also, I think it's crazy that you're on a ramen noodle diet, living paycheck to paycheck, making 30,000, talking about you want a man that make 100,000, and you look every bit of struggling and barely making ends meet. So I'm just saying, understand the stats. And if you are looking for somebody who do make 100,000, maybe ask yourself, do you look like somebody who was the lady of a man who makes $100,000 a year? And if you look dusty, baby, you got to upgrade.
Yes, a lot of them don't realize you don't qualify. I'm happy she said that. A lot of these ladies do not qualify, but they act like they deserve that. And you don't deserve it. Making 30,000, you barely have enough to put clothes on your back. Seriously, you can make 30,000 and maybe live in a state that's not a major city. It has to be. She has to be living in a state like that, because down south is somewhere where you don't need that much money, because for someone to pay you 30,000 in a city is just criminal. She lives down south somewhere or something like that, in one of those states where you may not need that much. But yeah, women always do that. They say they want this, and they don't qualify for it.
Up with, why is it that every time a woman says, I am childless and I am happy, that men get so livid? Why? I recently made a video saying I'm 32 years young, and
That's the problem. When you said your age, 32 years young, she just said, do you know, have you checked your eggs? I want to hear you say you've checked your eggs and a doctor told you. But still, like tomorrow, your body can just change. Even working out, your body, you have no more eggs. You need to have your babies now. They don't realize, man. She's gonna wait until she can't have kids anymore, or is at risk.
and childless, and I'm happy, and I'm jumping around and frolicking, in a garden, and men are like, you're gonna die old, your eggs are turning into dust, and da 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 da. And then the women are like, good for you. Even if they have children, they're like, great, good for you. What is that like? I find it to be hilarious because these men will never understand the gravity of what it is to have a child. They don't understand the fact that we risk our lives every time we reproduce, because there could be some kind of complication and it's the end of our existence as we know it.
She's scared.
They don't understand the sacrifices that are made, because under most circumstances, we are the ones that take care of children when men decide to move on and date somebody younger or whatever the hell they want to do. We are the primary caretakers in most instances. So yes, it is a huge responsibility that we are deciding to take on or not take on. But I still don't understand where in a man's mind, or should I say boy's mind, why does it trigger you? The fact that I'm not breeding, I'm not reproducing, I'm also not a wife. Like, until my finger gets heavy, there ain't no reproduction going on in his belly.
We do not care.
What's so hard to understand about that? What the helly? For real.
Yeah, you need to do what needs to be done to get yourself there. You're not showing a man by taking thirst pics. Have you guys saw her TikTok? It's a thirst pic city. She's trying to get that man the old school way to come in and be a thirst monster. Your man that's for you is not a thirst monster. He's not going to see you and go, oh, I like what she's showing. That's my girl. I'm going to make that my girl. The man that you want is not thinking like that. The man that you want is tackling sectors. He's not trying to tackle you. You have to make yourself visible to him. And you know what's going to happen is actually she's not qualified. Even her, even how beautiful she is, she's even not qualified for the man she wants. Yeah, you can catch a man thirsting. You can catch, I believe, wasn't she the one that was married to Tyrese? Yeah, you can catch that. No offense to Tyrese, but he's kind of a sucker. He has a lot of sucker behavior. You're not gonna catch someone that matters anymore because they've seen your past record.
Relationships are a scam. I feel like you sacrifice so much. You sacrifice your time, you sacrifice energy, efforts, patience, emotions. For what? All in the name of love? Please. Some points you even have to sacrifice respect. You sacrifice your money. You sacrifice everything that you wanted. You sacrifice your peace of mind for a gamble. For a gamble. Because half the time, the person that you're in a relationship with, you don't even know. People will switch like that. Too much of a gamble for me. I don't know. Sounds like a big setup. A scam. It sounds like a scam. I don't know not one person in a relationship that is happy. Not one. Blind? I don't know not one single person in a relationship that is happy. Not one. And I feel like the people that are married, miserable. Miserable.
It's wild because she sounds like a man talking. Like, this is what men have all decided. Seriously. Like, the women are fiending for the relationships. The men are saying, no, I don't want it. It doesn't make sense. Why? Because women save when they're in a relationship. Men waste money. And so men are thinking that now. I'll go, okay, by the time I get in a relationship, it'll be where I'm valued, where I'm appreciated, not accepted.
A lot of people are going to say, oh, you're single, you're no. Actually, I'm not. I'm not. That's why I'm validated in my opinion. Scam. That's somebody who's not single. I'm telling you. Stay single. Stay single. You can have more. There's more when you're solo.
She said relationships are a scam and she's in one. Like, how do you take this serious?
Offered to buy my coffee after I already ordered it. He was being like kind of a creep.
I learned very early on in my late teens, early 20s that accepting that free beverage, whether it's alcoholic, coffee, or otherwise, is not worth the free beverage. And the reason is because they are not actually trying to do anything nice for you. They think that if they throw down $5, then you are inclined to listen to them for X amount of time and hear their pitch to be your boyfriend, sleep with you, whatever it is. And you are then considered rude if you don't hear them out, right? One of the biggest realizations about this for me was when the offer went awry. Let me explain. So when I was in college, we had a Starbucks that was on campus inside of the business building. And that particular day, the line was always crazy long, but I needed not just coffee, but a sandwich. I hadn't eaten yet. I was starving. I had class soon. So I waited the solid 15 minutes in line, right? I get up to the register, I order my coffee, and then the guy who had been standing behind me comes up and starts ordering his coffee at the same register as me before I've paid. So me and the barista are looking at him like, sir, it's not your turn. And then at the end of making his order, he explains that he's going to buy my coffee for me that day. But the most important reason I was there was for my $5.95 panini, right? I wanted that panini. I needed something in my stomach before I had to go sit in another lecture. And at this point, I can see that this guy is like very tickled with himself. And as a woman, I'm automatically inclined to like keep the peace and I don't want to make him feel stupid. But at the same time, I'm not getting back in that line. There's not enough time. I need my sandwich. And so the barista asked, is there anything else? I was like, that's really nice of you. I was going to get a panini also. And I could tell by the look on this guy's face that he was only willing to throw $5 down on me, not 10. But mind you, being a nice guy is all about public perception, right? So we're in a public place. He already stepped up and wanted people to look at him for his chivalry, quote unquote. So he can't really say no. I mean, if he said no, I would have been perfectly happy to buy my sandwich and or my coffee, as was my original plan, right? But he's not going to say no because it'll hurt his ego. But in this case, he had just doubled the amount of money that he was willing to invest in a conversation with me. Because mind you, that is the transaction and how it works. I could see in his face that he was not willing to put down 10, but he did. And as one would expect, we moved to the waiting, area for our drinks to come out, and I have to stay there, right? So I let him do his little pitch, but I could tell as he was talking to me that it was almost like obligatory at that point for him. He wanted to follow through, but he was also clearly resentful that I had just squeezed a sandwich out of him. But the alternative was for me to be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, and not get the sandwich and then starve in my lecture. And truly, if you're somebody who is trying to pursue me, I would hope that you would care if I'm well fed, right? I had my own plan. I was perfectly capable of carrying out that plan. For me to have not spoken up and advocate for the fact that I was also buying lunch, I would have been screwed, right? And still hit on by somebody I didn't want to be hit on by. The conversation was very awkward. I remember we were talking about our majors, and then when my sandwich and drink came out, I had to go to class. That was not a lie. Like I said, I was pressed for time. So I said my goodbye and I walked off. This guy did not even ask for my number. And that interaction has always stuck with me because I realized the transaction did not go the way that he wanted it to, and he was already upset before we even had a conversation. The goal is not to do something nice for somebody and pay it forward. He wanted the payoff of being able to flirt with me, get a date, get my number, whatever, but then he got immediately turned off because he thought, and wait for it, I guarantee he thought I was a gold digger. I would say the odds are more likely than not that this guy went back to his friends and talked about how such a shallow, materialistic girl stole his money that day. You could have just stayed quiet.
Yeah, I bet he learned his lesson and he never did that again. This is one of the lessons men are learning, right? He learned and said, oh man, I will never do that again, right? Because he should have been able to do that and talk to you without buying it. Because I'll say this, women don't respect actually when you buy them something. They don't. Women, see, now you hear that, oh, I want a man that makes 100,000. Women don't respect men that buy them things. They see them as suckers. So even if it would have been, she was at a nightclub and she wanted guys to talk to her, she would put you down here. So that's what you need to learn, bro. Don't buy women things.
Chinese woman looking for traditional women qualities.
As a 38-year-old single woman, are our standards for choosing a partner really too high? I don't think so. Even if you don't have money, it's fine. I can support you. I only care about your age. I like men born after 1995. I absolutely do not want men over 30 years old. After all, the health of the child is directly related to the father, right?
The health of the child is related to the father? Is that true? Because you're carrying a child at 38 years old. That's a risk to yourself and the child. Are you crazy?
The requirement is that I won't consider men who are infertile. Additionally, my standards are even stricter. Men who can't have healthy children are absolutely not acceptable. As for the bride price, I can give you money, say, 200,000 yuan. But our child must take my surname. You should be at least 1.8 meters tall and have abs. We women also value looks and physique. Otherwise, it's embarrassing to go out together, and I would lose face. If you don't have a house, you can live in mine. You just need to take care of the housework and cook for me.
They're in China.
I have a sensitive stomach, so you need to take care of my diet. Moreover, you have to be obedient and gentle. And at home, you must listen to me additionally.
Very manly.
Our relationship can only
She's
be
a
led
man.
by me.
Absolutely.
You cannot be unreasonable. I can spend money on you, but you can't trouble me. I'm very tired from working outside every day, and I just want peace when I get home. As for work and education, I don't care if you have a job or not. But if you do have a job, it can't be too busy, Being too busy means you won't have time
She's
to
a
take care of the
man.
house and children. Moreover, you need to
What?
provide emotional support at home, always accompany me, appreciate me, and admire me.
Wow. She wants a man to be a woman. This is crazy. But that's what's going on. I guess it's happening in China too. It's happening all over the world.
Fathers don't realize that the way that they mistreat women becomes the weight that their daughters have to carry. If you are a father to a daughter, I need you to watch this video in its entirety because I'm going to be saying some very important things. Even if you give your daughter everything, if you disrespect women, if you lie to them, cheat on them, use them, abandon them, that energy does not vanish. It's absorbed. It's inherited. Because daughters don't just carry your love, they carry your unresolved cycles. She watches how you move, even when you think she's not paying attention. And what she sees, she begins to internalize. It shapes her attachment style. It influences how she receives.
No. Stop putting that into the air, right? Because only thing that she will really feel is if the father is distant with her. If the father is loving, because fathers, right, especially with daughters, she needs that man. As long as he's there, she would turn out all right, right? If he's not there and he's abandoning her, then she may be messed up. So, what you don't heal from, your daughter will feel is false. Now, if it was a single mother, what she doesn't heal from, why? Because she pissed that out. Men usually hold things back because we have to do that as men. So don't get on Beyonce's internet and tell lies. I think she thinks she's telling the truth. I don't know. I can't tell, but she's straight lying, or she doesn't know she is.
Receives love or how she fears it. The nervous system learns early. Is love safe? Is it secure? Is it real? And if you, as her father, were the first man to show her inconsistency or emotional neglect, that has now become her template. But this goes deeper than behavior. It's energetic. It's karmic. A father.
No, that's not true. If her father's there, as I said, and he takes part in her life, and he's a caring, loving father, she'll be okay.
Don't make any sense for a moment. I'm trying to get into the mind of a feminist. Okay, so they want equal rights, right? So whatever that means to them, probably abortion, right? Bodily autonomy, but that doesn't mean equal rights for men, because men still have to sign up for the draft, get circumcised without their bodily autonomy permission. They don't get to hit a woman back if she slaps him. And they have to work in society. For society to work, men have to work, not women. So how in the world does feminism still make sense to this day? Once women achieved the right to vote and have their own bank account, I think that's where it could have stopped. Because what the are you even fighting for anymore? Because it's not equality, it's superiority, it's narcissism, it's vanity, it's nonsense is what it is. It's nonsense.
It is, and she's right with what she said, because I know the men understand, but if there's some ladies watching, the reason why she said men have to work is because men do the hard jobs. It's shown plenty of times. Men are on the power lines, making sure they run optimal levels, and they're taking risk on power lines that are 5,000 feet in the air, hanging over nothing. Men are doing that, or men are taking care of trains. There's no women to work in these jobs. No women to work in these dangerous jobs, mostly men. It may be one woman, but if she leaves, do you think that's going to stop it from operating? No. It's still going to be run by men because it's 90% men on that job. So what she's saying is right. And the reason why a lot of times men voice it though a lot, right? Because men have to, because we've gotten to the point where if men don't say the truth, because what she's saying is the truth. If men don't tell a lot of ladies what the truth is, then they will believe lies, right? She knows what she knows because a man, most likely, she heard the truth from a man and she understood and said, yeah. She thought logically and said, that makes a lot of sense because men showed the numbers, right? So she took that in, did her own thought and said, I need to talk about this. And maybe a woman will listen to her and get the information from her. That's why I can never bash women like talking because it's helping women. I love it when I see women doing that because it's going to help change women. But from the way it looks nowadays, it's not going to change anytime soon. But yeah, guys, thank y'all for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Other than that, peace out. See you next video.